I spent the last 15 years helping car dealerships create a better business online, learning from the best in the industry. The real question is, how can I help you do better in this fast-paced environment? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me as I explore, learn, and share marketing strategies you can apply in your store right now. My name is Mark, and welcome to the Autobahn Academy podcast. Welcome to the Autobahn Academy podcast, guys. I'm super excited for this episode. It's been a long time coming. We set up this a few weeks ago. I had to push back, but now we're here. I'm
Yes.
here with Prashant. Welcome, Prashant, to the Autobahn Academy podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here, Mark. I'm so happy that we can finally, get this conversation started, going back and forward, trying to figure out a date. But
It's nice. It's
we're
nice.
glad we're here.
If I didn't know you at first, but I started digging into your LinkedIn profile. For anyone that doesn't know you, can you introduce yourself? Who's your business? What's your business? What do you do? In a nutshell.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, Mark, I started. I found out about you a while ago. I came on to Autobahn Academy, and then I actually ended up in your email list. So
Yeah.
I know what a great marketer you are. Because from that point forward, I just got closer and closer to you because I knew I always surround myself with great minds. So
thank you. I can
I
still
made sure to
improve
do
a
that.
ton, but I'm doing my best.
So I'm born here, Toronto, Canada.
Nice.
I don't think I'm too far from you, Mark. You're in Quebec, right?
Yeah, I'm in Montreal.
Okay, so only a few hours away from each other.
Yeah.
And I was born and raised in an automotive family.
Nice.
I don't know if you know this, but my father, he's been in automotive for 25 years now as a salesperson and then a finance manager. He's
Nice.
worked in a lot of franchise stores, high volume stores as well. And then my mother as well, she was in automotive for almost 10 years. Her most prominent time was working at Mercedes-Benz when she was the only female salesperson in the dealership. So she had to go through a lot of hardships. My father as well.
I'm sure. Sadly, it's still a boys' club, but hopefully it's changing and it's getting a little bit more mixed. Hopefully.
Yeah, she actually did so well when she was working at Mercedes that she ended up selling so many smart cars that she ended up getting an SLK that she could bring home. So when I was a kid growing up, that was such a big deal to me, and I was so proud of her as well. And even my uncle, he works at a Ford store right now. He's been doing it for 15 years, selling cars. So you can see that automotive is kind of a part of my family. It's kind of what my family brings home, what we talk about. So it's no surprise that I'm actually in this space. But for me personally, it wasn't my plan. I went to the University of Leeds in England, and I went there for 3 years. I did my LLB. I studied my law school there. My plan was to come back to Canada and become a lawyer. So when I came back, my father actually started his own used car store. He said, you know what? I'm tired of working for other dealers. I want to do this on my own. And so, me being there to support him, I was like, I can help you for sure. But you may think that, my daddy owns a dealership. So then he gets this privilege, he gets this, he gets that. But it's actually the other way around. My father was tough on me, and we started right from the bottom. I was washing the cars on the lot with a hose. And then I was, putting the plates onto the cars in the back of the cars for the other salespeople when they did their deals. And soon I worked my way up into actually talking to customers. And at the time we were getting these paper leads. We were actually buying leads from third-party providers, as well as, trying to attract whatever type of customers we could to the store. And so it was my responsibility to try to make 100 phone calls a day. That's what they said, 100 phone calls. Doesn't matter who you call or what you say, just make 100 phone calls, right? And at the time, I was only able to accomplish maybe 50 because the way that we were doing this whole lead follow-up thing was completely unmanaged. We'd get the leads through email, and then we'd print out all these leads, so we'd have a giant stack of papers. And then I'd have my stack of papers with me, and I'd have my headset on, and I just go through my phone and just start calling one lead after another.
It's like
Just
a
cold
in
calling them.
the movie Boiler Room.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
dragging
exactly.
calls.
Oh, and it
Gets
was sweating.
your
I
skin
was
thicker for
sweating.
sure.
Yeah,
That's a great experience for sure. It's tough. It's tough. But at some point, is it just me, or you get kind of get used to it and you don't take it like personal anymore?
yeah. I mean,
Like calling so many people.
the more phone calls you make, the easier it definitely gets. But at the time, it was quite discouraging because I would be making phone calls, maybe send a text or an email afterwards, and a lot of leads, they wouldn't pick up the calls. I
Yep.
try to follow up with them, not much would happen. And we came to realize that the rest of our team was struggling and was challenged with these responsibilities as well. So that's when we took it upon ourselves to really find a way to manage these leads better. And so then we actually developed our own CRM, which now helps us manage customers. And it made it so much easier to hit those sales phone calls again and again, day after day, and really remember what was being said on those calls. Because I was literally writing on the piece of paper just notes at the same time. And then I would look back at it later and I wouldn't even recognize my own handwriting. I'd be like, what did I even write here? I don't even remember what I was saying. And so it
Oh, for
was
sure.
it was it was a mismanaged process and it wasn't working well for us. But then finally, when our CRM was in place, we were able to conversate with customers. Things were going well. But when we came to realize that we were spending way too much money on our leads. We were buying them from third parties, and although we were promised qualified leads, we were getting old recycle leads. And we weren't
Yeah.
the only ones out there to get, like mistrusted and misguided by other lead companies. And we couldn't handle it anymore. Actually, we were losing money because we were spending so much money on our marketing that our
Yeah.
closing ratio was not close enough for us to actually make money. And so then I took that responsibility on myself and I hit the books and I said, you know what? We're going to get our own leads. And so I learned Facebook marketing
Good
inside
for
out.
you.
And
Yep.
yeah, on my own, just learning online and trying to figure out different ways through Ad Manager to create all these different types of campaigns. We were literally running thousands of campaigns at the time, trying to bring in these subprime type customers who were looking for credit rebuilding, because that was what our niche was. And so soon after a certain point, we really got that cost per result as low as we could. And we were proud of the results we were bringing in because we were actually getting qualified customers for the first time ever. And so then
It's
that's
nice.
actually,
It's got to be a great feeling though, because just if I may, it's funny
yeah,
because I
absolutely.
was recording another episode, like a podcast episode earlier, which you caught like live.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we were asking a question and chatting about, is it like relevant to hire someone like outsource our marketing as dealerships, or do everything in the house? So this is a super good example of what you did. You were having issues with the leads you were buying because you were trying to buy leads. What was it for? Finance? Was it for used new cars? What was it?
Well, yeah, we had a used car lot, but
Yeah. Okay.
mostly it was for credit approvals because we
Yeah.
worked with
Okay.
bad credit type of customers. So
Yeah.
they were just looking for a good approval. And so we were helping them with that and then also with the vehicle after that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's because the dynamic of my position at the store was a
Mhm.
little bit unique, where I took the success and the failures of the team on myself. And when I actually, saw that my team was struggling, we wanted to fix these things in-house and not have to rely on other people. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why we were able to, take that store and really turn it into a high lead selling type store. And so then when we had the conversions, we had the leads coming in, at that point we realized we can help other dealerships as well get these
Mhm.
qualified leads, because we were cheated by a few different companies and we wanted to fix that reputation of lead providers. So that's actually when CRM leads came out to be, which was
Okay.
we were just a lead generation company at the time, helping other dealerships get qualified leads as well. And we really genuinely thought that when a dealer had good qualified leads, that would result in more sales at the end of the month. And we soon came to realize that that actually wasn't the case. That even though we were giving them the exact same real-time qualified leads that we had of ourselves and we were using and converting at a high level, the other stores out there were not able to do so. And we really thought about what the heck is going on here, because we're doing our best, we're giving you the same leads, but why are you not able to get in contact with them? Why are you not able to get the appointments? Why are they not showing up at your store? What is going on here? And that's something we could not control with the other stores. And so then we look back and we realize that it's really our sales process that we have in place, that what we do when that lead comes in from first contact to delivery of the vehicle and even afterwards, it's that relationship that they're building that is so important. And it's something that can take so many different turns and so many variables in place, that it's really something that, is just, if you're a good salesperson, you're a good salesperson. There's really no one way or other to say about it. And people were, these stores are really struggling to get those leads done, those leads converted. And so at that point, we said that we want to help dealers not only get that good qualified lead, but also help them convert those leads at the highest possible rate. And since then, we've been working with a handful of stores across Canada, and we're very lucky to be working with them, helping them discover unique ways through technology to actually be able to increase their closing ratio at the end of the month and make more sales with less money being spent.
Let me ask you a question. Like, why do you think it's so hard for dealers to manage those kind of leads? Like, let's say you're sending the same lead to 10 different dealers. Why is the output going to be different from dealer to dealer?
Well, you know what, Mark? That's actually a good question, because we know that our customers, when they submit a lead form, they're not just submitting a form to one specific dealership. No, they're doing so with about 9 other dealers out there. And so it is quite literally a race to get to that lead as soon as possible and show them that you are the right person to help solve their problems, right? And a lot of the times, if you take a little bit too long to get in contact with them, they're probably being helped or being taken care of by your competitor, which is one of the reasons why, if you don't create that great first impression right off the bat, then odds are your odds of qualifying the lead actually go down significantly as time goes on, right? So I feel like that might be the reason why,
And let's say you were saying, is it always 9 car dealers getting the same lead, or will that
Yeah,
vary?
so the study actually shows that when a person submits a lead form on your website, they're visiting 9 other websites as well. And so the odds of a person submitting a lead form everywhere, well, that's quite likely, because they want to see their options, right? For them, they don't know who they're contacting. It may just be the marketing ad that they saw or something else, but they don't really know who they're speaking with. And so they don't know, they just want a car at this point. So it's really about who can get in contact with them the soonest and help them solve their problems.
It's interesting because, like, is it like, are you sending the same leads to 9 different people, and the first that gets it kind of shuts off the clock, or like, is it like everyone gets it and has a shot with the customer? How's that work?
Well, you see, in my own experience, what I've seen and what I've seen our other salespeople doing is, if they're too late to get to that first call, even if they end up getting in contact with that customer, they call them a few times, they pick up, they say, you know what? I've already spoken to another salesperson, another dealership,
Hmm.
and I told them I wouldn't do anything. And what happens is, in their mind, they're already being sold that that other store is the right people. And a lot of the
Yeah.
times, they won't even pick up your calls. They'll say, you know what, I trust these guys, I want to go with them, and they'll just avoid every other store out there, right? So the odds of you engaging with that customer and really converting them into a qualified buyer after other dealerships have done so is very, very low. Unless, of course, they were wronged by that dealership and now they want to come back and do the right thing with you. But it's a very slim situation.
Yeah. No, it's tough. It's a rough market, and like if I may ask, what's the model? Like, do you guys like would you charge like let's say a dealership that wants to be a client of yours? How do you get them to use your service right now? Now, what's the is it like a monthly fee, fixed fee? Is it like per lead? How does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, dealerships who work with us, it's all performance based. And
Yep.
it's performance based on our ability to help your dealership sell more vehicles every month. But it's also performance based on the sense that your team needs to be able to consistently be working and trying to follow up with these customers. And so we create holistic ways of being able to increase that lead to sale closing ratio. And so it's on a month to month basis. Because as long as you guys are performing well and you see the value in all of the customers that are coming back to contact you and the amount of closing ratio that's going up, at that point, it's truly a month to month type of system. So we don't charge any long-term contracts because we know that dealers who start working with us will start seeing results right away because
Okay.
everything is pre-built and ready to go.
And what's the like what's the opportunities some like dealers have in this market right now? Let's say like let's take we're in June 2021 right now. Inventory is scarce, both on new and used cars. Like prices have gone up. What's
Mhm.
the main opportunity for car dealers from your perspective, working with other dealers in Canada with your tool? What can they do right now to make their business better?
Yeah, I mean, Mark, you and I have both seen that in this last year, it's been tough. It's been crazy,
Yeah.
with the inventory crisis going on, and then with the pandemic causing all this physical distancing, dealers have really tried to find unique ways, and they've really tried to rethink their strategy when it comes to earning the attention of their customers. And we've seen that through dealers focusing a lot of their energy on digital retailing and creating a great website for themselves so that people can come and convert on their site at a higher level, so people feel comfortable with doing it that way. And we've also seen other dealers who are focusing a lot more on marketing and, really saying new promotions, offering unique value propositions, things like home deliveries or this special or that special.
Hmm.
With all the competition out there, the dealers keep facing this question is like, what can we do that's unique and different that can make us stand out from the crowd and make the buyers come to us instead of everyone else, right? It's really been that attention game. Who can you get the most attention from? And if you can get their attention, then odds are you're more likely to deal with that customer personally and convert them into a buyer, And,
Yep.
but what we feel like is that dealers are focusing a lot when it comes to marketing and getting that lead to come in. But when that lead actually comes in, what are you doing then to take that lead and convert it into a high paying buyer? Because like marketing ends when that lead comes in, but your sales process begins when that lead comes in. And so
Yeah.
your sales process goes on and on. And if you're not having proper processes in place, then odds are that might be the reason why they're still seeing low conversion ratios, even though they may have been promised higher levels, or they may see other competitors closing at much higher levels. And like when a customer actually walks into your dealership and walks into the store, there is a great first impression that comes to place in their mind when they see the cars lined up. They can see it's a big store. They walk in, the salesperson comes and shakes their hand, sits them down, maybe gets them a cup of coffee. It's a very easy way to break the ice and build trust right away because you're sitting across from the person.
Hmm.
But what dealers need to realize is that when someone submits a form online, we still need to replicate that great showroom process online for that lead to feel like, it's like a seamless experience from the marketing efforts that lead to the sales efforts,
And it's
right?
tough. It's
Yeah,
really tough. Like at some point, you can't replace being one on one with someone. in the same room, right? But
Yeah, I mean, like,
we're getting there.
a lot of the times you don't even know who's calling you. You know, it doesn't even show the caller ID anymore. You know, so if you just have a number showing up on your phone, you don't know who you're going to trust. You don't even know who you're talking to is actually who they say they are. So that's why buyers are very skeptical, right? They don't know. They're just maybe they're in the middle of the night. They're just on their phone. They see an ad. They click it. They don't know who's contacting them or what the dealer is on the other
Sure.
side, right? So it becomes very challenging, right? And we know that, like, even when the lead comes in, right, even if you create that great first impression, you may still need to follow up with your leads. And we know that that's a big responsibility for salespeople, which is just following up consistently with all of these leads. Because we know that for a fact that actually 3% of all of the leads that you receive online, whether it's from your website, you know, maybe Auto Trader or these other listings, doesn't matter. Only 3% of all the leads that you receive are active buyers. So what that means is that the other 97% of leads are not yet ready to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're not yet ready to buy, then the question is, what is your dealership doing in order to take those leads, you know, nurture them, really follow up with them, and make them believe that you are the right people to help them solve their problems? You know, and a lot of the times, salespeople may follow up with leads initially in the first day, week, maybe even the first 2 weeks. But when it comes later on, you know, they tend to just forget, or maybe they get preoccupied because there are so many things going on throughout the day, you know, that it's hard to be a relationship builder, you know, when there's so much business, so much happening, you know, there's so many responsibilities in the store, you know, plus like there's so many leads coming in every single day, and they have to create that great first impression and then follow up with all the leads from last week, last month, 3 months ago, and then retain all their customers as well as handle everything that's going on within the store. You know, it's virtually impossible
Yeah,
to
it's tough.
perform at such high levels.
I want to stop you here because you said something important about like the 3% and the 97%.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes like sales teams across dealerships across North America, and I'm sure somewhere else, but I don't talk to these guys too much. We get emotional about like that lead that came in, and
Mm-hmm.
we're assuming if they made a lead, they're ready to buy today or tomorrow at the latest. But the reality is it's not working out this way. Like not anymore, at least. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
so easy to submit leads to get information and get a feel. And some people are trying to get info, and some other people are trying to get some kind of a feel of how they're going to be treated if they go at your store. So I
Right. But
think it's just really important to keep going. Like put your head down and just keep going with email, with SMS, with phone calls, with whatever tool you have to make the experience better. And over time, just like you said before, like hopping onto this call, it's we've been in touch for a long time, but we just decided to meet today. We never met, right? But we spoke in the past, and then you were like watching a few things I did, but I just kept going, and this is how. In this case, in our case, for me and you got
yeah,
drawn to me, and it's the same freaking thing with dealerships. Just
exactly.
I'm just
Yeah.
using this example, so
No, no, yeah, definitely. And I guess it's true that everyone really is at their own place when it comes to their
yep.
buying journey, right? And when dealers start to consider that, you know, people may come from any type of background, but the odds of a person being, you know, fully ready to buy that vehicle that they just saw in your ad right now, it's quite low. It's quite an unlikely scenario. And you know, it is a little bit different depending on how people are attracted to you and who your audience is. But normally, the buying cycle for car dealerships can take anywhere from a month to up to 3 months to even 6 months long, right?
Yeah.
And some people may just be considering that, hey, you know, my car is starting to get a little bit old, or, you know, I'm not, you know, I might not need it yet, but I am thinking about it. So we have to make sure that the dealership is in the customer's top of mind, so that when they are ready to buy, they're going to remember that there is a salesperson out there who is really trying to earn their business and
Yeah.
is really trying to become like a friend to them. In a sense that, they're working so hard that, what, I want to give them that chance when I am ready to buy. And those are all of those leads that dealers tend to just push under the rug and just forget about, because we're used to dealing with the low hanging fruit,
Yeah.
right?
It's human nature.
Right. And what, it's easy. Why not, right? You should be working with the easy deals, right? Because that's where your attention is deserved right now. But we know how important it is to follow up. And so because of all these responsibilities, salespeople are just like overwhelmed with the amount of work that they need to do. And because of that, their productivity is quite low because they're wasting their time, trying to craft the next best message or
Yeah.
try to follow up with the same lead the 15th time in a row. They get quite discouraged as well. Because what am I going to say now that's going to make this guy change his mind? And so that's the few causes of human error that we can see and we can resolve if we have strong processes in place, right? And the issue is that management can't do much either. In my scenario, how was it my store? If nothing is recorded, if management doesn't know what is being said or how it's being said, then they don't actually know what to fix. They can't see what's broken. And so, you don't know what your salesperson is saying to all these leads in order for them to get this type of result. So how can you resolve that? Well, it becomes very, very challenging. Like we
Yeah.
know that in the store, when someone walks in, the manager is there. They can supervise, they can look over, and then they can train them afterwards and even take over the deal if it becomes challenging. But management doesn't have that access when it comes to the internet leads, which can be quite challenging.
No, it's funny because it's just at the end of the day, I think it sounds simple, but it's not easy.
Hmm.
It's just sharing the best practices among like teams and everything. So depending on what process you're using, what tool you're using as well. In fact, it was a premise before, like with Autobahn Academy. I just wanted to share like a few of like good things to do, right, from
Hmm.
dealers and other trainers in the industry. But at the same time, you still need to have a set process in place so you don't veer off like off track trying to convert people, the like the low hanging fruit. That's fine, but what do you do with the people who are not responding? Is there any way to, like, from your standpoint and your tools, um like, are your tools helping in any way for these people that are harder to close, if that makes sense, in whether it's an appointment or maybe a sale?
Yeah, I mean, and you said it absolutely right that, like, lowest hanging fruit is great, but that other 97% is where most of your marketing budget is.
Yeah.
And you're spending all this money on advertising and digital retailing, but if you're not actually focusing on what happens after the sale, after the lead comes in, then you're missing out on a lot of deals that could have been closed. And I think the question that you asked was how do we actually help
Yep. Yep.
dealerships actually fix these issues? And what we do is we focus on increasing the dealership's lead to sale closing ratio.
Okay.
And while this might seem like a large, challenging task, our main goal is to just focus on making the sales process a smooth one for the customer and making it as predictable as possible for the dealer.
Hmm.
Right. So with what we do at CRM Leads is we enable dealerships with a pre-built and ready to go out of the box sales engagement platform, which not only enables dealerships with the technology that they need to now follow up with leads, communicate with their customers and stay in contact with everyone, but now it actually accelerates their sales efforts as well by actually using like data analytics and proven best practices that we have made to make sure that the team knows what they need to do next to hit their mark, right? So, like, this may seem like a lot and a lot of things to do, but what's great is that through the sales engagement platform, the technology makes automating things way easier. So what we can do is take all of those responsibilities that the salesperson has and just automate things that don't need to be done by the salesperson every day.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, now the salesperson can have more time to focus on the tasks that really move the needle, right?
Yeah, and that next low-hanging fruit, maybe. And I think this is really smart because most of what we do within a day or every day as salespeople, car salespeople, it's redundant, right? Like 70-80% is going to be the same thing. It's just that the subject is going to be different. Either it's the car is going to be different or the customer, but mainly these are the same questions. We're working with the same model, same brand usually, and
Yeah, I
the
mean,
same frequently asked questions return, right?
absolutely. Right. And like I personally have seen salespeople just wasting so much time trying to craft this next perfect message to follow up with them. And
Mm.
you can take like hours throughout your day just
Yeah,
to
that
follow
makes
up with
sense.
leads that, you know what, you have walk-in customers, you have, ups from the store, internet ups, you have all these things going on. So like, it's just way too much work for the salesperson. And
Yeah,
it just makes their amount of productive work done throughout the day quite low, right?
yeah,
And that's
true,
really something that
true.
is challenging. And so what we've done is we've really geared down on the sales process, right? And we've taken all of these different types of best practices. Like Mark, I've heard from you as well. You have a lot of knowledge and valuable information. And so what we've done is we've taken these best practices and we've actually time tested them again and again, right? And we've actually created a system in place that really engages the customer from first contact all the way down to delivery and afterwards as well. And this really, really helps them convert the leads and make it so much easier, right? Because when a customer has their guard up, it's very difficult to sell anything to them or even to talk to them, right? So we got to bring that guard down and make that customer, that buyer, feel comfortable right from the marketing that brought them in, right from the sale, and then bring them into the store for the highest chances of closing the deal. So now I've been talking about the sales process. So let me just give you some examples as to how we actually do this. So you,
Yeah,
you have a
yeah,
clear idea. So like as soon as that lead comes in, we want to make sure that that lead is contacted right away and they're contacted the right way as well, right? And so because we know that the odds of qualifying a lead go down significantly if you don't contact them within the first 5 minutes,
hmm,
that's why we make sure that it's like virtually impossible for a salesperson to follow up with every lead within 5 minutes. So that's why
it's
we've
tough.
automated
It's
that.
tough.
I'm sorry?
I said it's super tough. It's
It's super tough. It's
yeah,
virtually impossible, especially with so many leads coming in every day. It's super tough to contact them right away
mm,
because you're racing with everyone else to get there first. So what we do is we automate that first contact through SMS and through email. And this message is sent directly from the salesperson's work email address and their work phone number, and it's sent right to the customer. So what this does is the customer, as soon as they fill that form, they get that message from the salesperson. So they know right away that, you know what, I just filled out this form and now this dealership is here trying to help me. So I have someone who's here trying to help me right away. So that makes it smooth, right? And then what we do to really create high engagement rates within those messages is we want to personalize it. Personalize the message to the buyer who's reading it. And the system does it quite
yeah,
well
that's
by,
key.
yeah, it really is. I mean, I know you've talked about it too yourself before, and
Hmm.
it is just truly so important because no one wants to read some like automatic message, generated message from a robot. It means nothing, right?
No, it
But
doesn't
when
convey like that you're listening to your customer, and that's a really big red flag for anyone that's already wary of coming into a dealership. And if the first time you communicate with them, you're just telling them you're not listening listening to them first, it's you're starting with a strike, I think.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like, and these people are, you have to think from their perspective. They don't know who they're talking to. They don't know what
Mhm.
kind of experience they'll have, and there is a stigma in people's minds about car dealers in the first place. So they're already worried and their guard is already up. So we have to do everything possible to make sure that that lead is engaging with us as soon as right off the bat. So within that message, we make the message as personalized as possible and show the unique value proposition of the dealership within that message, right? Because we have to stand out from the crowd. And to put a cherry on the top, to really make sure that, if that lead was feeling uncomfortable or, wasn't really sure, we make sure that within that first automated message, there is a video that goes out as well. Because we know that video is so important, it's so important to help engagement, because what it does is it puts a name to the face, right? And so people now know who they're actually communicating with. And so salespeople can actually record a video of themselves through their cell phone or whatever, and they can upload it in the system. And now this video will get sent out right away as well. So what all this does, making the first contact as soon as possible and then making an engaging message, it really helps make that contact rate, that first contact rate, as high as it can possibly be. So now it's the salesperson's responsibility to hop on and try to give a phone call out to that customer, right? And so the sales engagement platform will actually let the salesperson know that, hey, you got a lead sitting here, you have to contact them. And if they don't contact them quickly, it'll continuously keep reminding them, right? So now the salesperson is going to get to the call, and most likely they will pick up the call, because now you've done everything you needed to do to make sure they're engaged right away. So odds are they're going to pick up that call, right? And the salesperson can now handle that first phone call with confidence, because the sales engagement platform has dozens and dozens of different types of scripts that salespeople can follow in any type of situation, whether it's first contact, second contact, third contact. These scripts are time tested with the right information that the salesperson needs to know in order to qualify the lead properly, right? So now they can make that phone call, follow the script, right? And even take notes at the same time. But, let's say they weren't beside the computer. You don't need to take notes anymore, because everything is recorded. Later on, you can be on the lot and do the first phone call right away. And you don't need to be by your computer, because everything is recorded. You can just take the notes later, right? So that really helps salespeople, because there's actually a desktop application and a mobile application. Okay. So the phone it'll just ring right through their phone, and they can just make the normal phone call, and everything is recorded for them. So now all the information is stored within the lead, and it's all organized in a way that you can look back at it and move forward. Right now that we've made that great first impression, maybe they picked up, maybe they didn't, because we really don't know what's going to happen. All we can do is try our best to make sure that it does happen by focusing on these few elements that I mentioned, right? But let's say that they don't pick up. Well, now the salesperson needs to follow up with that lead and create that long-term relationship like we discussed. But that is a very, very tedious task, and it takes a lot of time, and it's quite unnecessary. So that's why we've automated that follow-up as well. So the sales engagement platform has pre-built, like already made and scripted out follow-up sequences through SMS and through email that will, just by clicking a button, the salesperson will be able to follow up with that lead through their own email address and phone number on a consistent basis, to try to nurture them and to bring them back into a conversation with them when they are ready. And so, I'm so happy that, I've seen such great results through these automatic follow-ups, because these sequences are built in a way that it doesn't matter where the lead is in the sales process. It can be a brand new lead. Maybe they fell off the sales cycle later on after you got them a credit approval or something. Or maybe it's a lead that needs to be retained long-term. Well, there are automatic follow-up sequences that are already pre-built. So what this is going to do now is that the salesperson, any lead that isn't responding to them, the salesperson can turn on the automatic follow-up, and they will be confident that hundreds, if not thousands, of customers are being followed up with consistently.
That's good, because you're really leveraging like a tool to help you reach out to more customers. Now,
Hmm.
um, for sake of time, I got a few questions I got to ask you.
Yeah,
Okay, I
absolutely.
was curious because, of course, you've been in the automotive space for a while. Your family has been too. You have a deep knowledge of what's really going on, and I like the fact that you kind of live through the pain that is the automotive business. It's a rough business to be in.
Yeah.
You gotta fight back with customers and everything. It's not that easy.
Not
So
even
this
with
is why
customers, Mark, even in the
no,
store, salespeople are
I
sometimes
know.
fighting with themselves,
Yeah,
right? Like
it's
it's
true.
it's a real challenge in the automotive space. And I feel like it really needs people like us to help move it forward so that we can make things easier for everybody.
So let me ask you this: what's one thing you wish you had known, like that you know now, but what do you wish you had known when you began in the automotive space?
That's a good question. I guess what I wish I had known when I was first in the automotive space was that we as salespeople, the title is called salespeople, but
Hmm.
in fact, we're relationship builders. And
Yep.
if I had known that when I first got into this, then
Mm.
what I would have done is not been so pushy for the sale with all of my
Yep.
customers. You know, I
It's
would
good.
have spent more time nurturing my leads and really creating that long-term relationship with people. You know, I remember I sold cars with people. Like I would work so hard on the deal. And then once I sold the car, because this is how I was taught, I just forgot about that customer.
Hmm.
And that's someone who I spent all my time and energy trying to build like a good relationship with them, and then I just leave them afterwards. So I wish I had known that I was a relationship builder, because then I would have really tried to retain people long term.
So what has been to go up in that vein? What's been the hardest deal you ever made or didn't make, and what you learned from it? Like, did you drop a deal at some point and you said, you know what, we all got these experiences where we kind of fall, or and you say, you know what, next time I'm going to do better by doing X Y Z.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I was working with a lot of credit challenge type customers,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of times where, I would follow up with them. I'd work very hard to earn their business, but there may be one issue or another that made them feel like, maybe we're not the right people to help them solve their problems. Or I remember one deal that I was trying so hard. I worked on it for weeks. Worked with this customer because you know that with non-prime customers, if we're trying to get that credit application done, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to go back and forward, and working with the banks and making that deal work. So I would say that working so hard on a customer and then losing them last second, that hurts so much,
Yeah.
especially when you spend so much time and you really get invested in that person, and then for you to call them afterwards and say, you know what, buddy, I'm sorry, we couldn't get you approved on that
Mm-hmm.
vehicle. It
Sucks.
really hurts, but the good thing is we taught how to rebuild credit, and we taught that we had a great credit rebuilding program, and that's something that we helped a lot of our customers with. And so I would say that,
Mm-hmm.
um, I wish that I started telling customers right away what we do different than other dealerships and how we're going to help them right off the bat. Because if I wait till later on and then things get all messed up later, then it's a big waste of my time and their time as well. And that's
Yep.
not fair to anybody.
Yeah, respecting their time and offering them like a value add position, like helping them with the credit, that's amazing too. That's one thing, and I think it's not gonna go away because, like, in your case, you're not only dealing with subprime clients anymore, or but I think it's a segment of the market that's gonna keep growing. That makes sense. But
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and used car business is continuously growing as well. And
yeah.
I feel like although automations are great and technologies is helping
Mhm.
people, it's only going to remain helping people, do what they need to do, So I think you're absolutely on point with that.
And in your perspective, like let's stick with finance for the sake of the question. in your perspective, what sets apart like dealers that are performing well, or like versus these that are not performing or just giving up? Let's stick with subprime for this for this instance.
Well, I mean, I can absolutely understand that dealerships are having a tough time, finding unique ways in order to gain their customers' business. But I would say that, any dealership, any person, anyone who continuously and never endingly, works towards their goals, they'll always be able to achieve that, But with dealerships, like there is a lot that goes in to how a dealership is run and managed. And it always starts right from the top. The rest of your team and the way that people view your dealership is all based upon how you, as a manager, as an owner, as a GSM, as a GM, treat your employees. And how, depending on how you treat them and what kind of culture you build with your sales team, that's what they're going to reflect on your customers,
Hmm.
right? And your customers will feel that energy. So if you only care about, making money today or that 30-day sales cycle, then you know what? Your salespeople are going to think like that too, and it's going to negatively reflect upon your customers. So I would say,
That's good.
any dealership that's struggling right now, you have to think open-mindedly. You have to open your mind up and try to find and really try to help the people in your organization, because that's going to help solve all of your
Hmm.
your your, your sales issues too.
I think this applies outside of subprime too. Let's say you're dealing with new car and used cars customers, trying to find like a unique way to approach customers and prospects, and really genuinely helping them finding their next car, whatever their situation is. And it's funny because we've seen that like people shopping for new cars, but with credit challenges, and shopping like people for used cars with no credit issues as well. So I think
Hmm.
we all have different triggers and buttons to be pushed. And your point is exactly it's amazing. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
like everyone wants that brand new Ford F-150, right? Everyone
mhm.
wants the dually, everyone wants the nicest, newest thing. But you, as a sales representative, really need to dig deep through the problems and truly try to find what's perfect for your buyer, not what's perfect for you or what you think would be the easiest to sell or which ones you have in stock. Think about them from their point of view and let them buy in a way that makes them feel comfortable.
Good. So now it's time for the Autobahn 5. This is 5 questions I ask every guest on the show. So first question: who is your your mentor or role model, and like someone you look up to?
Well, I've got to say that my mentor would be my father. He's been there with me. He's always supported
Yeah.
me. He never had the life that I had, and he taught me how to sell cars. He taught me automotive, and even today, he's here supporting me on the ventures that we have. He's my business partner, and I probably could not do it without him. I definitely could
It's
not do it
amazing.
without him. So,
It's amazing. It's a props to him. It's obviously did something right, because you seem really smart. So it's
no,
awesome.
thank you so much, Mark. No, he taught me the realities of life at a young age, and
Good.
he always pushed me to go for the greatest right away. You're not too young to do anything. You can achieve it all.
So let's say you're in automotive because of your family. What if you were not in automotive? What would you do if you could do anything?
Well, if I could do anything, that's a good question, Mark. I've always been an entrepreneur myself. I love business.
Hmm.
Probably end up somewhere inside that area. I love marketing, but my background, studying law and stuff, I might have just been a corporate lawyer here in Canada. But I am so 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 glad that I am not, because frankly, it's very boring, and I am so so passionate about what I'm doing here today and helping dealerships. It's really like a dream come true to me, and I'm so glad that dealers are working closely with me, and we're working towards getting their sales goals there, month in and out.
I really love your passion, because it's a tough industry to be in, but I think takes, that fire, to be able to survive and strive and help, like whether you're working in a dealership or outside. In your case, it's basically both. um,
Yeah.
I think it's just amazing. I just hope that you can keep this fire inside of you, just to keep going and keep helping some other dealers.
Oh yeah, Mark. We'll be retired at the same time together. I know we're gonna be in this forever.
Yeah,
So
I think so. I can't seem to get out of this
once
automotive
you,
thing.
it's a trap. Once you
It
end up
is.
in automotive, you can't leave
It
because
is.
from the outside,
It's
just like how you are, you
yeah.
can see the problems inside of a store. But when you're too close, you can't see it. Right? So
It's true.
with that experience that you and I have, we have the ability, and we should take on that ability to really help others and reach the same goals that we have ourselves.
Yeah, it's funny because at some point when you're in business, you realize you have your own challenges, and I'm not pretending I know everything, because on my end, I got a ton of problems, a ton of issues, and I'm trying to fix a ton of things. And
Right.
like, just that, taking your outside, like, eye, if that makes sense, your perspective, try to help others. I think it makes sense. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like an imposter. But at the same time, I guess, like, sometimes it's just clear as day what's really going on, and sometimes you're just not. Usually, it's not that complicated to fix things, but just
Yeah, I
to
mean, I
get
feel
the
like
ball rolling.
yeah, I feel like I can clearly see what some of the issues are, but the hard part is actually implementing those and
Yeah,
making changes because you we're not just dealing with like a system where you can just code things and things just change altogether.
true.
No, we're dealing with people, real human beings with habits. And these habits can be difficult to change unless you can get people on board and you are consistently with them throughout the process to help them understand why it is that they need to do things a little bit differently and think
Mhm.
outside the box. And once they actually see those results, then after that, it's smooth sailing. And there's little things that you can tweak here and there throughout the sales process that I've seen that can like help more than half of what I completely did. You know, one little thing that someone is doing wrong could be the reason why they're not able to
Yeah,
close so many deals.
yeah.
But if the manager doesn't know what's going on and the salesperson cannot recognize it, then doing the same thing again and again, it's not going to get you different results.
No, it's true. So sometimes just a matter of, like, catching some information or outside it, like, perspective. Like,
Absolutely.
what like, I find what brings me that portion is like reading stuff, watching videos. So let me ask you this: what's your favorite business related book?
Yeah, business related book. I would say, yeah, currently I'm actually reading Principles by Ray Dalio.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've have heard of him.
Yeah.
He has a hedge fund, a huge billion-dollar investment hedge fund,
Hmm.
and he teaches the principles that he relied upon through work and business as well. And these principles, he says that if you follow these principles, you don't need to be in my situation or have my knowledge or my background. You just need to follow these principles truly with your heart. And because of that, those will create great habits and those will result in all the goals that you want to achieve in your life. So if you haven't read that book, Principles by Ray Dalio, he gives like guides and everything. So it's very, very well written.
You know what? That gives me I listened to that book a while ago,
Oh,
but
you
I
did?
think I'm
Okay.
gonna give it another go, because I think it's the type of book that you should read once in a while, just to keep things fresh, because we tend to forget things, right? So
Yeah, in the
I try to
beginning,
do
he
that
talks
sometimes.
about all of his past and stuff. So there's a
Yeah,
lot of history that comes with him. But the principles that he's created, I think there are things that we know about, but we don't yet believe them as principles and our core values. And
true.
once we get it there, then after that, it's just following the process and believing in it.
What about do you so that would be a great business book. So anyone who didn't read it yet, like, put that on your list. Do
Yeah.
you have you ever read, or what's your favorite marketing related book?
Well, since I've got into the automotive space and started hearing about Grant Cardone, The guy is a living legend when it comes to sales and
Yeah.
being able to earn the attention of buyers. So I would say one of my favorite like sales books and marketing books
Yeah.
is If You're Not First, You're Last.
Okay.
And this was written by Grant Cardone. If you have not read it, I would definitely recommend reading it because he talks about how you can earn the attention of today's buyers in a slow economy. And what he says is that if you are not first to your buyer's mind,
Hmm.
then you might as well be last. Because if your buyer does not think of you first, then if you're second, third, fourth, or fifth, you're probably as lucky as the guy who's in last place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this book, he really teaches you how to dig through the noise of all the other people and get directly into the face of your customers in slow economies.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I guess, let's say you're in the middle of the pack, you're putting more efforts than the last guy, but the same results as the last guy. So I guess you're the big loser instead of. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really see it. You don't know that you're losing when someone else is winning, right? But
Yeah.
you'll only win if you're the first person to come to mind. Because I need a car, who am I going to think of? Am I going to think of my cousin, my relative? Am I going to think of someone I saw on a Facebook advertisement? It's all a competition to get up here into your buyer's mind and really show up there first. Because if you're
Yeah.
first, you're going to get it for
And
sure.
it works at like a higher level too, right? Because some brands are really more are selling a lot more vehicles than others.
Hmm.
Not to take anything away from anyone, but let's say you compare Toyota to, let's say, Mitsubishi, they don't have the same like the same numbers. So you'll see
Right.
people thinking about Toyota a lot more than Mitsu. So
Right,
just
and that's why these large OEMs will do things to try to place their vehicle inside movies and different things to
mhm.
try to make that car come first to mind. So I want
Yeah,
a new car. You know what? I want to go to this brand. Okay, now I want to go to this brand. Who do I want to work with? Has there been a salesperson on my mind that I know about? If I do, I'm going to go to them. I'm not going to care about the brand. I know that my cousin is selling cars, so I'm going to go to him, but only if that salesperson lets you know that you're doing that they're in the business. Or if not, you may not go to them. And that's happened to me many times before, where I was in the car business and I have a friend who comes to me and tells me, "Hey, I bought a new car." I was like, "Why didn't you call me? Why
yeah,
didn't you let me know?"
we're not
And they're like,
first.
"Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't remember. I didn't this." And I'm like, "Wow, if they had
That's a good
only
point.
known,
Hey,
I would have
before
gotten a deal."
we get done with this episode today, like, what is my last question for you is, what did I if you could step in my shoes, what would you ask yourself that I didn't during today's interview?
Mm, well, we kind of I went into detail about a lot of
Hmm.
things. I probably went a little bit too deep, and we didn't get enough time to
That's
talk.
okay.
So I wish we could have. Um, if I was honestly, if I was you, Mark, I'd probably take a look at your marketing campaigns and try to learn something from those,
Hmm.
and then bring them back over here and try to figure that out. But I can only learn from the things that you teach us, and there's so many things there. But I feel like what we haven't really talked about, and what you haven't really asked me, is what really sets us apart,
Yeah.
CRM leads apart from
Hmm.
all the other
True.
CRM companies out there.
Great question.
And this is actually a question that I get a lot of the time, right? Because people are like, a CRM is just a lead management tool, right? So
Hmm.
like, what are you guys doing that's
Why
different?
you?
Yeah, what makes us different? And what I want to make clear is that we at CRM Leads, we really have figured out a sales solution, right? As opposed to just a CRM lead management tool. And this sales solution will really just, the service is done for you. And so the whole product is ready to go and done. Other CRM companies require the dealership to come up with their own strategies and their own follow-ups and kind of put them in the system. And so there's a lot of time and energy and confusion onto what I should be doing to make this CRM actually work for me. instead of actually you working for it. So that's why we at CRM Leads create holistic dealer solutions for our clients. So that means that when they start working with us, they start using our proven sales process. And once we can determine how people are actually performing, how many phone calls salespeople are actually making, what are the results of those, how many appointments, how many shows, how many deals, how many retained customers, then we can come to determine how can we then fix that issue. And so we work closely with GSM, sales managers, dealership owners to figure out ways to make selling easier for their team. And we'll actually go back and go through the technology and implement these processes to make things easier for the team, right? And so I feel like not only are we now engaging customers, we engage the employee as well. And so we want to make that
Super
employee
important.
relationship great, right? And the only way you can do that is by tracking all this data and actually having it in a way that now you can make actionable decisions based on the data that you have to fix the problems that are there.
It's good. Amazing, because I think the main challenge within CRM systems is to engage the salespeople or the sales teams as much or more, even more than actual customers. Because if it gets set on the side, it's kind of useless. It's a
Exactly.
frustration, and it's a pain in the butt, to be honest, if it doesn't work out for you guys, for dealers. So
Yeah,
I think
and
it's
most of
super
the time,
important.
Mark, leads are just sitting there, all right?
Yep.
And maybe you organize them, but you don't know what you need to be doing with these leads, right? And that's why our sales engagement platform, which I wasn't able to go through, but I want to just quickly, briefly tell you, is that this sales engagement platform helps determine high quality sales opportunities for salespeople. So now they can know exactly what they need to be doing with every single lead, how they should be talking to them and what they should be saying, and how they can do that for the best chances of results every single day. So that means each lead is now being tracked by the system, and the system will automatically determine different ways that you can strike today in order to convert that lead to the next step in the sales process.
That's good. It makes sense, because obviously we can't go around like the whole system. So what if someone, before I let you go, what if someone wants to see more about what you guys do at CRM Leads? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, Mark, you and I got in touch through LinkedIn. I'm quite
Hmm.
active on LinkedIn as well.
Yep.
I've been using Clubhouse a lot lately. I've been able to connect with so many people. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, or even Instagram at the real Prashant Sabharwal. And then
Okay.
you'll be able to see all my content information. And very recently, I've started my very own sales engagement academy, which is similar to what you've been doing, Mark, because I'm
Nice.
genuinely inspired by you, genuinely inspired. And the work that you've done, I have my own knowledge and information,
Yeah.
and I want to help dealers through this proven results that we have, try to figure out ways that they can do it for themselves. So if you're a dealership listening right now and you really want to try to increase your lead to sale conversion ratio, and you want to find unique ways in order to convert your leads through psychological tricks, then go ahead, check out my YouTube channel. It's The Real Prashant Sabharwal. You can find the Sales Engagement Academy. We're coming out with videos once a week. So
Nice.
stay tuned because we have a
Love it.
lot of good stuff to go through.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Props to you for generating more content across your knowledge, like using your knowledge and solutions, because I think it's the right way to approach a new audience, and make your current customers a stronger audience too. So
Yeah,
good.
I mean, and
You.
I want to help everyone, and I don't think my knowledge needs to be paid for. I want people to see that there are easier ways to do it without even
Hmm.
working with us, so they can actually genuinely see that what the way that we're doing it right now might not be the way that I need to do it in the future, and hopefully people can take away a little bit from these videos step by step, and they can start implementing it today to help them sell more cars.
What if someone wants to book a demo of your tool? What is there an email you would like to them to use?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, you can email me at prashant at crmleads.ca, or you can just check out our website, www.crmleads.ca, and you
Okay.
can see all the information there. You can go on the demo page, submit a demo, or just feel free to message me anywhere, and I'll show you everything that you need to know.
Awesome. Well, Prashant, thank you so much for coming onto the Autobahn Academy podcast. I really appreciate it. I think car dealers in the audience will find a lot of value in what we discussed today. Hopefully,
No,
we
thank
can
you.
make it like a part 2 in the future because I feel like there's so much more to it.
Yeah,
People, go check Prashant's YouTube channel just to make sure you take advantage of that free knowledge that's online already. This is going to help you big time in your business. Prashant, thanks again.
thank you so much, Mark, for the opportunity. I'm so glad to talk to you. Next time, we're going to make sure that we have a drink out together and we're
Yeah,
really going and diving
that'd be
deep
awesome.
through all these things.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.